Hey there, class. Mrs. Matheson here. We're going to start up Unit 2, and we're going to be talking about parallel lines, and that includes transversals and angles. And our learning targets today is I know and can apply properties of parallel, perpendicular, and skew lines, and identify angle relationships. And then I know and can apply properties of angles formed by a transversal and to solve problems and logically justify problems. All right, so let's just chat about, well, what is a parallel line? Well, parallel lines are coplanar. We talked about that in the last unit. Coplanar means they're on the same plane. Coplanar lines that do not intersect. So we would look at this example here, and we would say M is parallel to N. Okay. Then we have skew lines. Skew lines are lines that do not intersect. And they are not coplanar. So they don't intersect and they're not coplanar. So they're going to be on what we see here as parallel planes. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So we can say that lines M and N are skew. All right, so let's talk about, well, what are those parallel planes? Parallel planes, they're planes that do not intersect. So, looking at our example in the right side of our notes, we could say that plane R and plane P are parallel. Okay, so we have more vocab that we're going to cover here on this first page. So we're going to be looking all these words, we're going to be looking back to this diagram on the right side. So let's start off with, what is a transversal? Well, a transversal is a line that intersects two or more coplanar lines at two different points. So for example, line T, which is here, is transversal to S and V. It's crossing two lines at different points. So this creates some angles. It creates some interior angles. So they're the angles that lie between the two lines. So these are the inside angles, such as 3, 4, 5, and 6. See how they're on the inside of our two parallel lines? Okay, then we have exterior angles. Well, exterior angles are going to be those angles that lie on the outside of the two lines. So that would involve angle 1, 2, 8, and 7. Those are on the outside of those two green lines we have there. If it's taking you a little bit longer to jot these down, go ahead and pause the video. All right, we have consecutive interior angles. Consecutive interior angles are just this, interior angles that lie on the same side of the transversal. So if we have our transversal T, and we have our two lines here, they are consecutive means like they're right next to each other. So like 3 and 6 are next to each other and they're inside those two. Make sure that you're writing down the examples of these so that you can look back and know some examples that match up with our diagram. Then we have alternate exterior or alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles are non-adjacent interior angles that lie on the same, that lie on the same or opposite sides of the transversal. So we're looking at examples like 3 and 5. They're both inside the two blue lines, but they lie on opposite sides of the green line. Then we have alternate exterior angles, which are non-adjacent exterior angles that lie on opposite sides of the transversal. So these are two that lie on outside of the blue lines and they lie on different sides of the green line. So 1 and 7 are good examples of those. Then we have one more. We have corresponding angles. Corresponding angles lie on the same side of the transversal and the same side of the two lines. So let's clear up here some of these drawings. Okay, so corresponding angles are angles like 1 and 5. So if I was to pick up my line S and lay it on top of line B, 1 and 5 are going to be in the exact same spot. So they're going to be in the exact same spot. That's what makes them corresponding. All right, lots of vocab, sorry guys. Next page, perpendicular lines. This is just a little review. Meet to form a 90-degree angle. Vertical angles are always congruent. And then two angles who form a linear pair form a straight line. All right, lots of stuff going on here, guys. Make sure you're getting this all down because it's all going to tie back together when we get to that second page. So let's just look at these two sketches. In the following sketches, the two lines cut by a transversal are parallel. So that's saying that this line and this line are parallel. To indicate that the lines are parallel, extra arrows are put on them, here and here. Using only your knowledge about vertical angles and linear pairs, fill in the measures of the other 6 angles in each sketch. So we know, looking back, vertical angles are congruent. So I can say that this angle here is 118 degrees because it's congruent, and this angle is 62 degrees because it's congruent. Linear pair are ones that are right next to each other, and those form a straight line. A straight line is 180 degrees. So I can find my missing angle by taking 180 minusing the 62, and that ends up being 118 degrees. That angle's vertical angle will also be 118 degrees. We can use the same idea here, that this linear pair adds up to 180, so I can take 180 and minus 118 degrees, and we find out that this angle is 62 degrees. Based off vertical angles, we also know that that one is also 62 degrees. I want you guys to fill in the information on the next sketch that we have drawn there. And then when you guys come back to class, we're going to be using these diagrams to help us fill in the blanks on the next page. We'll see you guys then. Don't forget about your Schoology quiz.